Hello there. Welcome to yet another episode of Unruly Fashion, brought to you by the Podpire Network. And as always, I am your host, Noella Eze. We've made it to episode 4, guys. This is fantastic. I am eternally grateful that you keep coming back every single time to listen to me talk about fashion things and just my life in general. And that's great. This week, let me see. It wasn't a bad week this week, actually, to be quite honest. I pushed through, it's the middle of the week, so we'll see what the rest of the week has to has to offer. But this week I had, as always, one of my epiphanies. All right. I just, and they always come in the shower or when I'm getting my makeup done. I don't know why. Just I think it's the silence of the routine, or just the fact that something monotonous is going on. I'm not a fan of monotony. I don't know if you can tell, but I don't enjoy routine. I don't enjoy doing the same thing at the same time every single day. It's boring. What am I, an insect? So, but the fact that obviously, when you're taking a shower, it's the same motions. I take my shower the exact same way every single time, and then my brain is like, okay, we need something to do that is not this boring thing that you're doing. And then those are the points where I get my epiphanies. Right? So, in my epiphany today, it's not really an epiphany. It's always been a way of life for me, but I found that I am an unrelenting anarchist. Unrelenting. I don't ever apologize for like chaos. And not that I bring chaos, but I welcome it. I do not believe, I'm a fan of 100%. If things decide to burn down, I'm 100% in favor of letting it burn to the ground and starting all over. I cannot tell you how many times I've started over. Like, as someone who has, had things, wrenched from me, had, situations flipped in the blink of an eye, had loved ones wrenched from me either by death or circumstances. I believe 100% in just letting it burn and starting all over. So that leads us into, and I think I've mentioned it, what I am today. I today am an unrelenting anarchist. We can include fashion in brackets there, because that also applies to my fashion. I wake up sometimes and I decide I do not want to be this person anymore. It is good to let go of like former fashion, things. Like, there was a time that, and I was saying this to my producer a while back. I said, there was a time I wouldn't leave the house without wearing 6-inch heels. There was a time I would do that. It wasn't a thing that I did. But I've also woken up one day and decided that sneakers were my whole vibe. So don't be afraid to just let it burn, let it start over. Fire is cleansing. I know we find it to be a dangerous thing, but at the same time, it's the best way to cleanse and start all over. Okay, I am going to, as usual, you should be used to this routine by now. Okay, within 3 to 5 minutes, we go pay some bills. But before we do that, do you people pay your parking tickets? I don't understand. Like, how do parking tickets work? And do you pay your parking tickets? I pay mine. But I recently got one through no fault of mine. And I asked, I was like, so how does this work? People are like, I don't pay parking tickets. I'm just like, what? Don't you get to go to jail for that? And they're like, yeah, no, I don't pay parking tickets. But sound off in the comment section or, on my inbox at Unruly Fashion and just let me know what you think about parking tickets. I know it's super random. And then, when we come back, I'll delve right into, the idea of being reborn every single time. Just give in. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Okay? Sometimes kicking against change makes it harder to accept. Just give in and let it burn. Let it burn. Let it. It's my podcast, and I'll sing if I want. I'll see you later. Welcome back. My producer's just cracking me up. He said, you seem like you're workshopping a cult, like the whole let it burn. Give in to change. Are you workshopping a cult? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. you know, like the next stage is the MLM, like the pyramid scheme, where it's like you bring three people and I give you a pair of shoes, and then those three people bring another three people and I give them a pair of shoes, and that's how that's how this cult is going to be. It's the cult of the Noe. Give in, let fire be. I'm kidding, please. That cracked me up, but yeah. So like I said, who am I today? I am an unrelenting anarchist, though. I do believe in fire, and obviously not physical fire because I am terrified of that thing. But I believe in just let it, allowing change. I find that one of my most, what's the word I'm looking for? Fantastic character traits. One thing I love about myself is that I am the most adaptable person you've ever met. Like I said, I could change my mind whenever on a whim, which translates to being adaptable. I mean, I'm like all human beings, initially resistant to change, but I'm also more adventurous than is good for me. Sometimes, like my quest for adventure has more often than not led me in down a path that it's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. But I don't know that I've ever regretted any adventure that I've been on. I've regretted the people I've gone on the adventures with, but being on the adventure itself, the lessons learned, the ways that it has changed me or impacted me or made me better, I don't think anything has ever made me worse. Things have always made me better. They've made me slightly bitter for a second, but they've always made me a better person. So I'm very adaptable. I will adapt to change. You throw me into a situation, it will take me maybe a day max, and I'll be like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And no, I'll move on. And I want that to be. I feel like no, not that I want that because who am I to want anything for you? But I advise that to be the way that you live your life. Change isn't. Change is something that we don't like as a species because it's our caveman brain going danger. Change means danger. Danger means death. No, and it triggers every anxious neuron in your head. Your body's like, no, 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 no. Change is not a good thing. It's the same with opinions. When someone challenges like a strongly held opinion of yours, you kick back as if the person tried to actually kill you. That's why all these Twitter wars exist. But I would enjoin you to actually be more receptive to hearing what somebody else has to say, no matter how lousy said thing is. Because the thing about this is, being adaptable doesn't mean being what's the word I'm looking for? Gullible. Okay, I'm adaptable, but I'm not gullible. I mean, some people would tell you otherwise, but what seems like gullibility is just me taking my sweet time to weigh what is happening here. And then when I'm done weighing it, if I find that this is not a situation that I want to be in, I get up and just go. And if that situation has caught fire, you let it burn. Because think about it this way: if it is something that needed to burn to the ground, and you kept trying to put out the fire and put out the fire and put out the fire, all you're going to have is a charred mishmash of things that used to be. As opposed to just letting it burn to the ground, make yourself some s'mores, and then rebuild. I feel like rebuilding is infinitely easier than trying to save something that wants to burn. Okay? I apply that to everything in my life. I apply that to my wardrobe. I have items in my wardrobe that I've had for at the very least 10 years. 10 years, I'll hold on to it. Why? Because it is timeless. Okay? And then at the same time, I have things that I have not had. I have things that within 2 months I'm over it because it was a trend that I decided against everything in me I bought into. I don't buy trends. I buy timeless pieces. There are things that will never ever go out of style, right? And even if they do go out of style for the time being, you will always find a way to what's the word I'm looking for? Make them relevant to the time that you're in. And at the same time, there are things that might come back in and out, but will never remain fashion staples. Low-rise jeans, for example. You guys remember, this is for millennials, remember when the inseam of our jeans was like literally an inch high? Like, how did we sit down? And I say we because I did not own a pair of jeans that went past my hip bones. I was just like, nah, if Britney's doing it, I'm doing it. If Britney's half naked, I'm half naked. I'm doing this. So, but like, how do we do that? Like, it was a moment that we just all collectively decided that this absolute abhorrence of a fashion statement was something we weren't going to do. We don't talk about the 2000s. We don't talk about 2000s fashion and style. But you know what? When the time came to give that up, and I think I gave mine up way before everybody decided it was time to give it up. It's just let old things pass away. Let things burn to the ground. Let it just stop. If you are somebody who has adapted to having something be your personal style, for example, for me, for me, something that has always, there was a time I owned, I'm not exaggerating, I owned at least 200 pairs of jeans. There was a time my entire wardrobe was jeans and something cool, but it had to be jeans. And I had jeans for every type of occasion. I had any sort of jeans you can think of. I had the ones with the chains. I had the ones that were like, pencil jeans. I had the flared jeans. I had the baggy jeans. I had jeans for every occasion. I was the jeans girl. I got so many jeans that people started to steal my jeans because I would go hunting and find the coolest pair of jeans and add it to my arsenal. And my thing at the time was making sure that no two pairs of jeans I owned could be interchangeable. So every single thing was different for every occasion. And then one day I was traveling, and this was back in Nigeria. I was traveling from the west, from Lagos back to Enugu State. And I wasn't flying. I had taken the what is the equivalent of Greyhound buses here. So I'd taken that, and I was traveling, and I put my suitcase in the luggage compartments as everyone does. And when I got to Enugu, my suitcase was missing, and I had all. And the thing is, I am the queen of overpacking. I don't even remember where I was coming from. I think I had gone to visit my cousins in Lagos. I don't remember where I was coming from, but I remember that all my favorite pairs of jeans were in there, like a good chunk. If I had 200 at the time, I somehow found a way to shove in 150 into that box, right? And I had it in there. It was all my stuff. And I came down from the bus and my suitcase was missing. All my clothes, all my favorite things, just poof, gone. Someone had gotten off the bus at a stop somewhere and taken my suitcase with them. And I cannot tell you how heartbroken I was because I had spent so much time. I'd invested so much of my not hard-earned money because I had an allowance at the time. I was not working. I was a teenager whose daddy was giving her pocket money. But still, I could have spent that pocket money on other things. So I spent this curating my wardrobe, and it was just in a flash. My first reaction was disbelief. I was like, it has to be in there somewhere. It can't not be in there. And they're like, okay, wait for us to finish unpacking. Don't worry, when we're done unpacking, when we're done unloading, it might be at the back. I stood there, and this was, did I mention this was the middle of the night? Like, we arrived at 10-ish, 11-ish, which in Enugu might as well be 3 a.m. There's nobody on the road. Like, Enugu dies an early death. Like, it's not New York. It is the city that absolutely goes to sleep. Enugu is not the city that never sleeps. Lagos is the city that never sleeps. So I arrive at the dead of the night. There's no one there. And my suitcase is missing. My stuff is missing. And I'm standing there. It's just me, this tiny little person in the park full of people who could easily just stuff me in a jute bag and just make away with me. But I stood there going, where's my stuff? It has to be here. It can't not be here. I refuse to come to terms with the idea that this thing that I'd heard had happened to so many people so many times happened to me. Why would it happen to me? My first thought was, who is as small as me? Like, who? Why would you take my clothes? Why would you do that? I'm very binary in that sense. I'm very binary in that if I could never do it to you, I can't fathom it. So if you do it to me, why would you? But that's not how the world works, is it? The world doesn't work that way. Life is unfair. It doesn't give a damn what you can and cannot do to other people. So anyway, I stood there. They unloaded completely. They searched the entire bus. My stuff was gone. It was just gone. That was it. I remember not being able to cry about it. I remember not knowing what to do. I remember just in shock, even as I was going home, thinking it'll be there tomorrow. It has to be. This didn't happen to me. This can't be happening to me. So I went home. I went home, and I think the next day I came back with a friend, and I said, "Did you guys happen to find it?" They're like, "No, we're sorry, it's gone." So I had just arrived this city, Enugu, where my parents used to live, but my parents weren't around at the time. They all, where were we? I think we had moved to Lagos at the time, so I just went to Enugu to visit. Yes, I think so. I think so, because I remember that a friend of mine had to. We had to go shopping for stuff that I could wear because I had nothing. I'm talking my underwear was gone. She had to find money, and we had to go shopping for something I could wear. I was gonna be there for a week. Don't ask me why I had a whole suitcase full of stuff. Did I not just mention that I overpack? I was gonna be there for a week, and I took everything that I thoroughly enjoyed because you never know. What if I have to go to a party? And she had to buy me stuff, and I I don't remember crying about it. I probably did, but I remember that within 2 days I'd adjusted to the fact that this was my new life now. This is just it. That I don't own these things anymore. It's lousy. It's shitty, but this is my life now. They're not there. It would come back a few times. Like I'd 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 have a top that she gave, like she bought for me, and I'd be like, oh, that would go great with my right. I don't have that anymore, and then I'd move on. Right. So that was one of my earliest examples of how A, adaptable I was, and B, resilient I was. I was 17 at the time, 16. I was a teenager, and a teenager whose entire identity was her genes. So I cannot explain that pain. But I learned that day that I'm amenable to things. So that's my little anecdote, and that's my fashion tip for you. We're gonna move into the fashion tips here. That's my fashion tip for you this particular podcast. Let it go. Let it burn. Let it go. Start over. If you wake up one day and the style that you've held on to and has been what you've been for so long no longer just does it for you, let it go. If you wake up one day and this particular style that you never thought you'd wear, you never thought you'd like, but you're just like, why not? Allow it. Allow it. If you wake up one day and your identity, this identity that you've just curated and held on to, and it's been your thing for years and years and years and years, and it just no longer fits, kind of just like it's ill fitting, you find yourself that you're trying too hard to remain this person that no longer serves you, let it go. Let it go. Believe me, it is far easier to start over. It seems like it's not, but it is far easier to start over. Let it go. Let the Kanye shades go, please, for God's sake. Let the whoever you were when you were at your peak go. Whoever that person was that you felt was the best version of yourself, let that person go. Let whoever you think is the best version of you that people will like more, let that person go. All you need to do is like whatever version is emerging. Whatever style of yours is emerging, whatever fashion sense you are curating, whatever it is that change is presenting to you that you don't quite know, but you're willing to find out, lean into it. All right. I'm gonna pay some bills. I know. I started out as an anarchist, and then it's like this anarchist is like giving you tips and tricks, and the person is not, you think I would like set something on fire. I mean, I could. You guys want to go burn down something later? Don't listen to me. I talk a good game. If you go to jail, don't call me. Don't call me. I'm an anarchist, but don't call me. I'll be like, I don't know you. I don't know this person. Who? They burnt what? Because I said what? That's their business. Don't call me. Don't go and burn something and say that Noella said. I don't know the way I'll deny you. Ask her. Ask about me. I'm an anarchist, but I will deny. I've told you. There's got to be some bills. See you later. And we're back. Welcome back. I realized when we went to pay some bills that I may have mashed up the fashion tips into the body of the story because I was telling that story and I was into it. Fun fact, I had repressed that memory. I had completely. I just remembered it when I remembered that I used to be a denim slash jeans girl. And then as I was saying to myself, gee, I wonder why that stopped. Then I remembered why that stopped. And so you guys followed me literally on the journey of rediscovery. But that said, the fashion tip, in case you missed it, is do not be afraid to let go. Let go of whatever. Like your style does not have to be permanent. Your style can be fluid. Your identity, fashion wise, can be fluid or otherwise, but I'm here to give you fashion tips. Your fashion identity can and should be fluid. You should be able to relinquish things that worked for you before but no longer work. There's no need holding on to something because, oh my God, I've always looked cute in this. Like, I've never been the sort of person like, oh, this silhouette looks good on me, so I'll keep buying it. Oh, I look good in sheath dresses, so I'll buy sheath dresses forever. No. I look good in high-waisted jeans, so I'll buy high-waisted jeans forever. I mean, there are certain things that, sure, for your body type, it works well, but don't pigeonhole yourself. That's the tip. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Let yourself be fluid. Let it burn to the ground if it has to. Go through a period where you're just trying to figure it out. Trying to figure it out all over again because you are not the same person today that you were yesterday. I don't even think that I'm the same person that I was 5 minutes ago because I am now somebody who remembered something that happened to me years and years ago. So I'm not the same person I was at the beginning of this podcast. That's how fluid you are. Let yourself change. Allow change in. And it can extend to either your fashion, your style, or it can also, like, you can let it spread out to everything in every aspect. Take it, let it burn, and rebuild. Okay. That said, we're gonna go pay some bills, and then we'll be back with the Q&A, and yeah, we'll wrap up this segment. So thank you for coming along thus far, and go listen to an ad. Buy something. Why not? Yellow. MTN, your best connection. I know. See, look, I know I live in North America, but the Nigerian in me is plenty. So a lot of my inside jokes are gonna be mostly for my friends and myself who grew up in Nigeria, because I'm at this point in my life more Nigerian than I am Canadian. Like, in that I've still, the cumulative number of years I lived in Nigeria is still more than the cumulative number of years I've been in Canada. We're getting to an even, it's about to even out. So at some point, I'm going to be more Canadian than Nigerian, but right now, still more Nigerian. But anyway, that's what that MTN joke was. All right. We are moving into the section of the unruly Q&A. So I got a question. I did like a Hail Mary with this particular question. I was like, oh my God, because I had a question for the last one. I didn't have a question for this one because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to ask. And then I asked on Instagram, and my boo at MXCZE came through with a question. And the question is this: for people just getting into fashion, what do you find the silver lining between following fashion trends, i.e., a lack of originality, and committing fashion faux pas, which is expressing your individuality but not following fashion conventions enough? It's funny because this ties into what I was talking about, like on the last podcast, where it's like, I don't believe in fashion conventions. I don't believe that anybody should be able to tell you how to express yourself. Now, like I said, as a style judge, I can look at it and go, I mean, that's ugly. I'm not going to say it to you. I can think it. I'm sure there's people out there who think my style is garish, too much. They don't understand it. But that's on them. It's not going to stop me. So, where do you find the silver lining? I'm gonna sound like some sort of guru right now. You know, the gurus that are like within yourself. But that's the truth. The silver lining is literally within yourself. It is the line where you're like, I like it. The silver lining is your I like it. I like it. I like it. I think it goes together. I'm gonna do it. I like it. Where you start to deviate is when you start to think too hard about what people are going to think of what you're doing. Let me tell you something that I have said. It is one of the defining mantras of my life. I say it every single time and I maintain it. People are going to think what they want of you. You cannot influence what people think of you. You can't. You cannot change anybody's mind. People will think what they want to think of you, and nothing you do or say is going to change their minds. So, someone who wants to like you, like your style, is going to like you and like your style. Someone who does not want to like you and like your style is not going to like you and like your style. Think about yourself that way. Anybody you dislike, is anything they do going to change your mind? No. You're going to be like, okay, well, they're not as shitty as I thought they were, but I still don't like them. The same applies to you. You cannot make people like you. So, what you need to concentrate on is what you like. What you like, fashion wise, style wise. What do I like? And go with that. That is my answer to that. The silver lining is your I like it. Anybody else can. I don't care if it's your identical twin. I don't care if you guys were chugging the same amniotic fluid for months. I don't give a damn. If she doesn't like it, he doesn't like it, that is their business. They're not wearing it. You're wearing it. Ask my answer. You don't like it. Okay, then don't wear it. I will. I don't like the way it looks on you. That is your business. Look away then. Look away then. The style is you. Style is 110% you. Nobody can teach it to you. Nobody can make it better for you. All I'm here to do, that's why I said in the trailer, I'm not here to tell you your do's and don'ts. I'm here to tell you how to maximize what you already have, how to make the best of what you already have, how to not hide who you are, how to express yourself better. I know that I promised telling you about sales and stuff like that, and I haven't gotten around to it. I should probably get around to that because I have a running tally of who's having a sale at every point. If you live in North America, here, let's just do it this episode. If you live in North America, Zara is having their annual sale. Get in there. Get in there. It is that time of the year where we realize that capitalism is some bullshit because some things that were 100 and whatever dollars have gone down to like $9.99, $12, and it's like, who? So what was your cost in the first place? As someone who is like, who studied, whose degrees in the business of fashion, every time I see markdowns, my first instinct is because markdowns, let me just tell you that markdowns do not ever cut into costs. It's not possible. Okay? Your markdown may be at cost, maybe at the very least, there's a 5% margin. At the very least, even if you're trying to do volume, 5% margin. So when something that was $100 and something is marked down to $10, my first question is, so how much did you pay for this thing to be produced? And then you are here asking us to pay 500%? Wow, people don't have manners. It's rude. Anyway, Zara's having a sale. Who else is having a sale? I don't know if for the people in the US, Akira is having a sale. They have a 40% off. Who else? Charles and Keith is having a sale. Get in there. Those are very cute purses. Who else? Those are the three. I think ASOS is always having a sale, so get in there. What else? Those are the four that I can think of for now, off the top of my head. Yeah, so those are worthwhile sales. Go get in there. Brown's Shoes is having a sale. They're having a buy one, get one 25% off. And these are things that are already marked down. So this is when you want your the boots I'm wearing today are from Brown Shoes. If you want your Zanottis, your B2s, your Michael Kors, they're in there. Brown Shoes makes some excellent shoes. So go in there and get a piece of the action. And with that, I think we have come to the end of today's podcast. You can find the full outfit that I'm wearing, this Unrelenting Anarchist. You'll find it on the Instagram handle at Unruly Fashion Pod. Follow. I hate being the follow, like, and subscribe person. But if I'm not the follow, like, and subscribe person, who will be? It's my stuff. I have to promote it. So go follow me on Instagram, like my pictures. Follow us on YouTube as well so you can see the visual of the podcast, because most of this is actually quite visual. So go watch it on YouTube. And like I said, this is hosted by the Podfire Network, and you can get it wherever you get your podcast: Spotify, Apple, Google, etc., etc., etc. And that's it. That brings us to the end of this wonderful little episode. I liked this one. I like them all, but I really liked this one. But yeah, thank you for coming, and see you next Wednesday. Bye.